They did it. They actually did it. In Resolve 21, Blackmagic Design added the ability to edit photos in DaVinci Resolve. Now, I know what you're saying. Yes, we have actually always been able to edit photos in DaVinci Resolve, and there's been plenty of creators showing off how to do it. There were some limitations with it before. The biggest problem I had was that a lot of camera raw formats just were not supported. Even if you could use the same video raw version from a camera manufacturer in Resolve for video editing, the photo one was not guaranteed to work. The second problem I ran into is that it was really freaking annoying to set your canvas resolution to the exact resolution of your photo, and then if you wanted to do any cropping or whatever, it was a nightmare, and you basically had to pair it with something like Photoshop to finish the job. The third problem that I ran into was interpreting raw files as certain types or whatever, as various color spaces to use in the node workflow wasn't always perfect. They have resolved, pun intended, all of this. They have just introduced a new photo tab next to the cut and edit tabs that will maintain, it'll let you set up albums so you can apply edits to the whole album and export the whole album at once. It will maintain the actual resolution of your photo. It'll let you do cropping, basic adjustments, and interpret your raw camera files for photos as log, which then, if your camera profile supports a log format, to then apply your typical color grading workflow. So your photos can be edited in the exact same way as your videos. This is a long intro, and I am sorry for that. I am just so freaking hyped because this is the thing I have been waiting for forever, but there's still one problem. Let's go to the desktop, the computer, and actually show you this stuff instead of talk. Let's go.
All right, I am here inside DaVinci Resolve 21 beta at the time of recording. And over here at the bottom, they have added a new tab between media and cut called Photo. And it's a photo editor. So I've actually added some photos here as a test. We'll walk through the UI and then I'll start importing some other photos because I do actually have some that I wish to test. I'm going to go ahead and pull up some folders here. I'm going to drag these in. All right, I've imported a variety of different image formats. So we're going to take a look at the UI for the photo editing flow. This is still in beta. It may change. Over on the left, you have your media pool, as expected, just like in the edit tab. On the bottom, you have options over here in the top left, just like normal. Oh, interesting. All right, we'll get to that. So in the bottom, this is the default UI. You have your photo album. Photos need to be added to their album to really be used. Like you can start making adjustments in your media pool just like you can in the inspector tab in normal edit, but you need to drag them into your media pool here to really be used. And I'm specifically looking to import DNGs from my phone for a couple scenarios. So you drag your photos from your media pool to the photo album, and here you can start making adjustments and doing other things. You also have an effects window you can pull up here that has your typical list of Resolve effects that you can use, including standard fusion effects, Resolve effects, open effects. Like, it's all just here, which is fascinating. Like right now, this photo, I could drag on NTSC RS and just drag it to the photo and start like messing with making it look like a VHS photo, which is kind of bananas. And then you can delete it. Like you have that standard flow here. Over on the right is the inspector tab. And this is your standard inspector you might expect, but they have a raw file setting for raw images. If you just have a JPEG or a non-raw file like this HEIC, then you just get the photo and the file settings. The file shows you the resolution of the photo. You have metadata things you can manipulate, which is great for file management. So you've got color tagging, flags, naming, tagging for like good take or bad, that kind of thing. Photo gives you your what you would expect to be inspector tab things, but has some photo specific ones. But again, if you have a raw photo, you actually have a raw tab. So if you have a raw photo and you do get scopes and you can choose whichever one you want, you've got, and these are available seemingly no matter what you select here for the most part. So you got histogram by default because that's what most people edit photos with, but you could have changed it to a vector scope or to waveform, which is what I'm more used to using. CIE chromaticity, I've never actually used that. Parades, standard stuff. Like I would typically use a waveform if I'm looking at anything, but histogram is available as well. And you get controls over that just like in the normal color tab, which we can still use. We'll get there. And then you get source transform. So you can actually change the size of the photo within the canvas of its original resolution, which is interesting. But then you also have cropping. Now, it has some default ratios you could select here. 2:3, 4:3, 16:9. Or you can choose as shot to leave it alone. Or you can do custom, uncheck lock aspect ratio, and we can start cropping the photo to be whatever size we want, which is fascinating. This is also very useful because it does not detect cropping in the metadata of the DNG. And I will share as an example, this file right here, I had to manually crop. The actual image is in 4:3 from my GFX 100 RF camera. But in the camera, I did crop it. And in Lightroom or other photo editors, often that crop is detected from the RAW and applied to your preview automatically, but then you have the option to uncrop. This is not the case in Resolve at this point in time. Maybe it will be added later. So then you have to come in and crop. What I don't like is that even when you select custom aspect ratio, you can't just type in an aspect ratio like you could in Lightroom or Photoshop or in your camera. You have to manually just crop it to where you want it, which is really not ideal if you're targeting a specific ratio, because I'm just doing it by eye. I don't remember I don't know exactly how much I need to crop to get to 65:24 for the expand ratio or whatever. So that's a little annoying. Then you get some source looks you can apply, like black and white, dramatic. These are just like basic, Lightroom presets that would be in Lightroom, but applied to, interpreted through Resolve. It's cool that they include these. I would not imagine myself using these very often. And then you have your standard raw photo adjustments, white balance, lift gamma gain, which is shadows, midtones, highlights, contrast pivots. These are still interpreted through how you would expect to color grade a photo, which I love because it's much more granular and better. You also have an auto balance button, which will attempt to adjust the image automatically. Awesome to include. So that's the normal adjustments you get for any photo. If you do have a raw file, you get some additional options. The first is a white balance setting, because you can change that after the fact. So I could come in here and say cloudy day, don't like that at all. Daylight, fluorescent, flash, or custom white balance. You can set your color temperature and tint here. You can also change the color space and the gamma that your photo is interpreted as. Since it is a raw photo, you can interpret it as the color spaces that your camera would support for anything. I find it interesting here because I don't know if the raw photos actually support these or if they're just interpreting it from the manufacturer. But for example, this DNG we're looking at right here came from my iPhone. So in color space, I have Apple Log 2 and Apple Log available for color space and gamma. If I come over here to a photo from my Fuji, I have Fuji Film Gamut C and F-Log 2 available, as well as standard F-Log. And if I come to a Canon one, which I did not drag to my album apparently, then I have the option of Canon Cinema Gamut and Canon Log 2, and Canon Log 3. I find this very interesting because, again, I don't know that the camera raw photos support this because it's not available in most other programs. I've wanted it to be, but it normally isn't. So you'd think you'd be able to interpret any raw photo as any other raw color space and gamma through transforms, because that's kind of how it works sometimes. But they limit it to the manufacturer's profiles. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But by giving you the log profile, you can still include highlight recovery, temperature tint, exposure sharpness, dial that sharpness down. All the normal raw controls you'd have when color grading raw photos or videos, which is great to have in here. But by interpreting it as log, I can then go in here to the color tab, select this photo, and start grading it as if it's raw video. I have the camera raw settings in my color tab down here. Again, interpret the color space as I want. All the normal raw controls. I've got my scopes. I've got curves. I've got all the normal node-based workflow controls. And if you're into the kind of automated workflows, I even have Dehancer. So in this case, I'm going to choose camera. I'm going to choose my camera. Canon R5C, C-Log 3 Cinema Gamut. Obviously, it is a little dark there. We don't have manual ISO, selection like you would with a RAW video, at least in Canon RAW. But I mean, you got your exposure after the fact, which is fine. So we can use our waveforms here, get our levels where we might want. And start playing with our coloring. So like I could apply what do we want to do? A Kodak film preset. Make it look like Portra. Or uncheck that. I don't actually use that. I use the film print profiles. Do Kodak, say, glossy paper. Bump up the tonal contrast, color density. And start playing with it that way. We've got the nice film grain baked in from Dehancer. Same thing here. I can apply my grade over here. And I could choose Apple Log too, which is neat. I typically actually find that I enjoy the tones out of Apple Log better if I interpret it as Canon Log, at least for my skin tones, which is super weird. But you have all of this flexibility available to you. You can see here we have new options under the preview monitor because it's adapting for a photo. So we've got photo preview resolution. If for some reason your computer is having trouble rendering these effects applied to your photo, you can still lower your photo resolution, which is wild. You can still apply your ratings and all that stuff here. See your settings. Do all the normal stuff. And then you come back here, you can move on to the next one, manipulate your album in whatever way. And when you're ready to deliver, you go to the Deliver tab and you get a special photo mode for this export. You can choose to export the entire album of photos at once, which is phenomenal, or just the selected photo. You can export as JPEG, PNG, TIFF, or HEIF. Original resolution. I don't really know what the point of your pixels per inch is here because your resolution is your resolution. Pixel per inch is just a interpretation when you're applying printing, so that shouldn't change anything, but I'm going to choose 300 because that's what I use for printing. Compression quality if you need it, include metadata if you want it, and you can export it that way and it goes super, super quick. Phenomenal. Like, I love everything here. I still run into a weird thing where not every RAW format is supported. And this is the Canon 5D. Now, it's the original Canon 5D, so a little older of a camera, but still a Canon RAW format in the CR2 extension. And it detects the camera, it detects all the settings for it, but I get media offline. This is a problem I had run into with my Fuji and my Canon RAWs, I'm pretty sure, before this update, so it's nice to see that at least the newer RAWs are supported. But it kind of sucks to import one. It displays everything. It detects that it has Canon Log supported. It knows that it's a Canon RAW file. It just can't do anything with it. So hopefully they will get that fixed up. Everything is still kind of in beta. Like with cropping this one, you can see here I have bars on the top and bottom. I don't know if that made it into the export. Cropping got kind of buggy. White balance, actually, if I go in here, you can see here by default it was set to 6500 Kelvin for the white balance in the RAW settings for this Fuji RAW. But if I start to tweak it at all, it jumps. And then if I go back to 6500, it's just busted. Oh, that's because that's as shot, but it doesn't match up. Typically, as shot will adjust here to change it, and it doesn't. So then I have to really try to find it. And like at no point does it match. Like, and it's just not even reflecting changes at all. So at least with my Fuji RAWs, the white balance in the RAW controls is kind of bugged. But it's in beta. There's some very clearly beta things. But I really like this flow, and this has been exactly what we've been asking for in DaVinci Resolve. Well, I had also wanted to show that there is another tab for capture, where you could tether your Canon or Sony cameras, supposedly, to do tethered capturing, which means the camera's connected to your computer, you get a live preview, you can control settings, and trigger capture from the computer. This is used in a lot of portrait studios and things like that. However, I tried my Canon C50, my Canon R5C, and my Canon Original 5D, as well as my Sony A6400, since Blackmagic specified that Canon and Sony are supported. Not a single camera would show up here. I do have a T3i that might be more likely to work than the original 5D, but I don't have it charged right now. I don't know. Obviously, it's beta. They probably didn't expect thorough testing of this yet, but either camera support isn't working or, isn't fully fleshed out yet, or Skill issue? I don't know. I truly could not be happier. This is just about everything I've been asking for. I am fairly confident I will not be launching Lightroom ever again now that I can do this. I have Luminar Neo for my other Canon RAWs that aren't supported yet. So one thing I had wanted to look at here is this DNG right here. It interprets it with Apple Log as an option, which is great. Like, it detects it as an iPhone Pro RAW photo. This was not taken with the iPhone app. This was taken with an app called, oh God, what's it called? Perla, which is a custom photo app that has a lot of cool image processing and whatever else inside of it. And for the most part, like, it still works. It still interprets it properly, which a lot of things do not. The captures from this app do not often work. And so the fact that it does still work here is honestly pretty great. I am really, really stoked about that. And so I can come over here and start, I don't know, I can start editing these. Maybe I want the reds to be a little undersaturated on this because they're kind of strong, but I want the blues to be really saturated and the greens to be really saturated, but the yellow to be not. Like, full control here. Stellar stuff. And if you are watching this over on YouTube, I wasn't supposed to do this. I wasn't supposed to announce it yet, but I will sneak an announcement at the end of this video that I have a DaVinci Resolve course coming. Your all's support and response to my OBS Studio course over on my shop has been groundbreaking for me, game-changing for me. I don't know the right word. Incredible. And a lot of you all really enjoyed it and started asking for courses with other things. And I want to be selective about things that I truly feel I can offer value for. And I'm also taking lessons that I learned from the OBS course. I felt like I had my ADHD over-inclusion kind of on steroids in that course. This one's going to be a little more concise. I'm actually including this episode or this video as a bonus episode in the course. But since it's such a big thing, I wanted to release it as a public video as well. I don't have a whole lot of assets up on the shop page for the course because I was not planning on announcing it until I was finished recording. I still got like 3 more episodes of it to record and then to edit it all. I typically, at least with the OBS course, I announced pre-sale while I was finishing up the editing. I'm going to go on and announce the pre-sale here where you get 50% off, which is more than I will ever knock off in any future sale. If you sign up during the pre-sale, I estimate a month or 2. Like, my goal was by end of May, maybe mid-June for the course to release, which is why I wasn't going to announce it yet. But I want to let you know I'm working on this. So if you want to sign up for support, I owe a crap ton on my taxes this year, so I could really use the help. Like, 5-figure, it's a lot. So if you want to sign up for it, it's going to be about 18 videos. Going to be a lot more streamlined than the OBS course, really focused on getting you up and running if you are new to Resolve, whether you're coming from another editor or not, for editing YouTube videos, short content, whatever, learning all of the good fundamentals and basics with regards to editing on the edit page, as well as introductions to Fusion, color, audio effects, and a lot of secret tricks I've learned along the way in my 8 years of editing with DaVinci Resolve so far. I have a link to it in the video description if you're interested in supporting me. It would mean a lot. Again, this is a pre-sale. The course is not finished just yet. It will be delivered through, I have a course platform on the shop that you log in and get to access it through. You'll be sent email notifications when it's ready and be granted permission with that, and you'll get some of my bonus LUTs and whatever else I throw in as bundled assets as well. Again, this is going to look super shady. The page is not ready yet, but since I'm making this video, I wanted to announce it. Only a few of you will support this early, but those of you who do really make a difference to me. So thank you so much. And remember, be kind, rewind.